We need to go out there and walk, talk, think, act as a third force. Not a third party, but a third force. Think of the left and how effective they've been thinking and acting operationally as a third force. Third force for them, 340, 350 environmental groups, hundreds of consumer groups, civil rights organizations, unions. All of these have their own membership, their own agenda, their own source of funds. They operate independent of the political process. They operate independent of certainly of the Democratic Party and the Republican Party. Think of the most successful public policy issue in my lifetime, I think, is the state of Israel. It's off the table. Everybody supports the state of Israel in politics. Republicans, Democrats, conservatives, liberals, moderates, independents. But they did not tie that cause to a political party. They operated independently, and they pulled everybody their way. And the civil rights movement made a lot of gains in the 50s and the 60s when they did not tie their cause to a political party. Then when they begin to be in almost an appendage and operate very close to the Democratic Party, their gains from their perspective slowed down. And so as conservatives, we need to go back to basics and focus on our own issues, our own organizations, and pull everybody our way. I was telling Terry Jeffrey here before we got together this evening about a wonderful book called A Glorious Disaster, written by Bill Mittendorf, and I commend it to you. It's an insider's look, and Bill Mittendorf was the treasurer of the National Draft Goldwater movement, and it's an insider's look at the Draft Goldwater movement. I read the first page of the book, put it down, and it's like the Lord took the scales off my eyes, and I could see clearly for the first time. Every conservative I know Terry's been looking, I've been looking, we've been looking for 20 years for Ronald Reagan. Is he around the corner? Maybe he's behind that pillar, down the hall. Where's Ronald Reagan? All wrong. We should not be looking for Ronald Reagan. We should be looking for Barry Goldwater, because it was Barry Goldwater who, when he announced in January of 1964 for the presidency, knowing he would never be president of the United States, because America was not going to have 3 presidents in 12 months' time, he did it to launch the conservative movement. And you can draw a straight line between Goldwater's campaign in '64 and Ronald Reagan's election for governor in '66. And we need to be out there supporting our own candidates, our own organizations, and working for, numerous Barry Goldwaters. And from that energy, from that activity, will hopefully arise a half a dozen Ronald Reagans. But we need to go back to basics. It's a couple of movie analogies. One, Field of Dreams. Remember what he was saying there, and the idea of the movie was, build it and they will come. Well, build it and he will come, be shoot as Joe Jackson. I like to change it a little bit. Build it and they will come. All right? Right now, if Ronald Reagan appeared, we couldn't support him. We don't have the infrastructure. We don't have the organizations. We don't have the troops to support a Ronald Reagan campaign as we did in the late 70s. Okay? So we have to go back to basics and build the conservative movement. And we can do it. It won't be done in the next 18 months. It may take 6 or 10 years to do it. But this is not a sprint. This is a marathon. And one of the many, many strengths of the conservative movement was that we have always approached politics as a marathon. Maybe we had no choice back in the 60s and 70s. We weren't going to govern in the next 18 months. But now, if we could select the next president of the United States, we would not govern America. We wouldn't have a majority in the House. We wouldn't have a majority in the Senate. We wouldn't have governors, state legislators. So we need to go back to basics, and we can do it. In my lifetime, we've taken over the Republican Party 3 times. Goldwater 64, Reagan 80, the English Revolution in 94. We can do it again. We can pull the whole country our way this time. The last the last movie analogy, being Generation Europe, perhaps you've seen the movie The Blues Brothers. All right? What's the idea of the Blues Brothers? John Belushi, Dan Aykroyd, we're going to get the band back together again, and we're on a mission from God. We're going to get the conservative movement back together again, and hopefully we're on a mission from God. Thank you.
That's pretty good. Well, I agree with, go ahead, go ahead.
Okay, I'll introduce